We are back. That's right. We are back to the Dr. B and Mrs. B Emptynester podcast show. This is podcast show number 13. Number 13, Mrs. B.
That's right. I'm Mrs. B.
This is podcast show number 13, and we're moving right along. And we're going to take a little turn, by the way. We've been we're trying to do a week every weekly, but it's been a week and a half on this next podcast. And let me just say, Mrs. B, we're going to get back to the topics of empty nesters and how this transition of ours is so deep in so many ways, Mrs. B.
Yes, it is. Our transition in life of where we're from, where we've been, all the things we've done in our life, family, raised children, and now our transition is to the point of our baby boomers age. And it's quite it's a delightful transition and a very fortunate one to be able to go through that in life and still be alive.
So stop right there, because we're going to go through so many topical but related issues that we're going to dig deep into what it's like being an empty nester. Right. So we want to thank everyone for staying tuned on our podcast show. And now we're going to take this turn, as I said. And again, these podcast shows are only less than 5 to 7 minutes. So I know everyone is so busy out there in the podcast world. You can't spare 5 minutes to listen. And please like and share our podcast show. And we're doing some very special things in the near future. But here's podcast show number 13. It's not about how you feel, Mrs. B.
All right.
It's about what is your emotional state as an empty nester right now. Your emotional state as an empty nester.
I would say, as an empty nester, you change, you age, you get irritated about a few things here and there, but not as much as you grow. Wiser, more wisdom, more maturity. My emotional state, I think my emotional state, even now, is always better than any type of mood. Emotional state of staying calm, a woman going through transition in life, after having babies, going through the menopause stage, and into the age group 60 and up. And I feel my emotional state is much calmer than it was when I was younger. And I had to learn through that. And emotions can go up and down, but it's settling out. And my emotional state, it brings a sort of maturity, self-esteem that I've had when I was younger. And it brings about a level of feeling that you are comfortable in your skin and can handle your emotions, even when things get you upset, when other things intrude in life. Your emotion is this calmness. And when you continue, it's a struggle at times because things in life happen. Sometimes it's a struggle. But as you settle in to the wisdom and calmness and understanding of yourself, emotional state, I tell you, Dr. B, I'm surprised about.
Thank you, Mrs. B. Now let me just tell you, just elaborate upon my emotional state. It's all about what I realize is positivity. It's about being positive when you wake up. It's about being positive in the afternoon. It's about being positive at night. So I can feel myself striving to maintain my positivity as an empty nester, more and more so because there's so much stuff out there with your job and with everything, the negativity that comes at you. But you have to remain positive, even more so when trying to maintain and going through this empty nester stage of life, this transition. Recognizing that, yeah, there's a loss of our kids, our adult kids in our home. That could bring you down on a regular basis. But it's joy that they're doing well, but it's also positive that we're all moving forward. So my emotional state is going to be positive. There you go, Mrs. B.
That's great. That's great. I feel my aura come back. My aura, my positivity in the aura and the Holy Spirit and the calmness. The aura that gets dinged up in life. Those edges.
Thank you, Mrs. B. We were just trying to keep it short and tight. Thank you, everyone, for listening to Dr. B and
Mrs. B.
Empty Nester Podcast Show. That was harmless, wasn't it, Mrs. B?
No harm. No harm.
There you go. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe. Take care, everyone. Peace out.
Peace in.